Why your willpower is killing you and why environment is everything. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to introduce you to someone whose work is about to disrupt everything we think we know about recovery, legacy, and what it really takes to heal. Her name is Lavern Crump, and she is not just launching a business, she is building a sanctuary, a revolution, a place where women battling addiction can finally stop fighting alone. Lavern's Hope, set to open early 2026, is a sober living home for women. But let me be clear, this is not just another recovery facility. This is a daughter's love letter to her mother, Betty Newby, who walked her own painful journey through addiction. This is a Black woman turning her family's deepest wound into a legacy that will save lives. And in doing so, Laverne is challenging every single thing we've been taught about strength, survival, and what it means to truly overcome. So today I want to share what Laverne taught me because her insights don't just apply to addiction recovery, they apply to every single one of us, especially those of us who've been taught that survival is strength, that grinding is glory, that we must pull ourselves up by our bootstraps no matter what. Laverne's story reveals a truth that might make you uncomfortable. Environment is the silent architect of sobriety. And if we're being honest, environment is the silent architect of everything. Let me start with something most of us believe. We believe that recovery from addiction is about willpower. We believe that if someone really wants to get sober, they'll find a way. We believe that strength means doing it alone, that asking for help is weakness, and that the right kind of person can overcome anything if they just try hard enough. This narrative is everywhere. It's in our professional circles, our families, our churches. Pull yourself up, be strong, don't make excuses, stop being weak, try harder. But here's what Laverne taught me and what the research backs up. That narrative, it's killing people. Because the truth is, willpower alone is not enough. In fact, willpower without the right environment is like trying to build a house on sand. You can have all the determination in the world, but if the ground beneath you keeps shifting, if the walls around you keep crumbling, you're going to fall. And when you fall, people will say you didn't want it badly enough. They'll say you weren't strong enough. They'll say you should have tried harder, but they'll be wrong, dead wrong. Laverne's hope is built on a different foundation. It's built on the understanding that recovery isn't just about what's happening inside a person's mind or heart. It's about what's happening around them. It's about the safety of the space they wake up in. It's about the compassion they encounter when they're at their lowest. It's about the structure that holds them when their own strength runs out. Because here's the thing, structured, compassionate environments like Laverne's Hope can increase long term success rates in recovery by providing the emotional safety net that willpower alone often lacks. Think about that for a moment. We've been telling people to be strong, to dig deep, to find their inner power. And yes, those things matter. But we've been ignoring the fact that strength doesn't exist in a vacuum. Strength is cultivated, it's nurtured, it's protected, and it thrives in environments that support it. This is what Laverne understands. This is what inspired her to create Laverne's Hope in honor of her mother, Betty Newby. Laverne watched her mother struggle. She saw the barriers, the judgment, the lack of safe space designed specifically for women. And instead of turning away from that pain, she turned toward it. She asked herself, what if I could create the kind of place my mother needed? What if I could build a sanctuary where women don't have to fight alone? What if I could transform this pain into purpose? And that's exactly what she's doing. Now, let me tell you why this matters beyond recovery. Because Laverne's story is about more than addiction, it's about legacy driven entrepreneurship. It's about taking the deepest pain in your life and transforming it into something that heals not just you, but your entire community. This is what Black women have been doing for generations. We've been turning our struggles into sanctuaries. We've been building businesses, organizations, and movements out of the very things that tried to break us. We've been creating havens when the world told us to just survive. Let me share a few stories that mirror what Laverne is doing. Stories of Black women who refuse to let their pain be the end of the story. Rikeshia Williams is a Black lactation specialist in Battle Creek, Michigan. She worked in hospitals, and day after day, she witnessed something that broke her heart. She saw Black mothers facing barriers that white mothers didn't face: unequal access to postpartum care, systemic biases, mothers left to navigate their most vulnerable moments alone without the support they desperately needed. She watched mothers struggle to feed their babies, struggle to heal, struggle to be seen as human, and she couldn't unsee it. So she didn't just complain about it. She didn't just shake her head and move on. She built something. She founded Milk Like Mine, a consultancy offering doula services, counseling, and barrier removal programs tailored to the specific needs of Black and underserved mothers. She created a nurturing space, a recovery haven for family health. And the outcomes: empowered families, reduced health disparities, stronger mother child bonds, lives changed. The lesson: specialized, empathetic environments change lives. When you create a space where people feel safe, seen, and supported, healing happens. Then there's Shanae, a Black registered environmental health specialist in Calhoun County, Michigan. She spent over 20 years in public health at the Calhoun County Public Health Department. She knew the system inside and out, and she started noticing something. There were gaps in food safety compliance that were putting local businesses and entire communities at risk. People were getting sick, businesses were failing, and nobody was connecting the dots. So, after 2 decades of working within the system, Shanae made a bold move. She transitioned from public health to founding her own consultancy, offering restaurant design and safety training. She turned regulatory hurdles into growth opportunities. She built safe environments for community sustenance. She didn't just identify the problem, she became the solution. And in doing so, she elevated food safety standards and supported local entrepreneurs in health vulnerable areas. She created an environment where businesses could thrive and communities could be nourished safely. And let's not forget Vel Phillips, Wisconsin's first Black leader to be honored with a state capitol statue. She pioneered safe public spaces through civil rights and public service advocacy. She fought systemic barriers head on. She created pathways for healing and empowerment. She broke down walls that had kept Black communities unsafe and underrepresented for generations. Her legacy transformed public policy and community safety nets that continue to empower future Black professionals today. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for the world to be ready. She created sanctuaries of justice, equity, and safety in a world that told her to stay silent. Do you see the pattern here? Oh, these women, like Laverne, didn't wait for someone else to build the sanctuaries their communities needed. They built them themselves. They took their pain, their expertise, their lived experience, and they turned it into purpose. They created environments where healing could happen, where people could rebuild, where survival could transform into something sacred, where strength could finally rest. This is what I call compassionate innovation. It's the ability to blend empathy with strategy to address overlooked needs in women's health and recovery, and to drive both profit and profound societal change. It's not just about making money, it's about making a difference. It's about leading with your heart while building with your mind. It's about refusing to let the world's brokenness be the final word. And here's the second insight I want you to hold on to: supportive environments outperform isolation in recovery and leadership. This isn't just true for people battling addiction, it's true for all of us, especially those of us in high stress fields, those of us who've been carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, those of us who've been told that asking for help is weakness, those of us who've been grinding so long we've forgotten what rest feels like. We've been operating in isolation for too long. We've been grinding, hustling, pushing, proving, and we're exhausted. We're burned out, we're running on fumes, and the world keeps telling us to be strong, to keep going, to never let them see us sweat. But what if the real strength is in creating havens? What if the real power is in building environments, personal or professional, that foster resilience instead of demanding it? What if the revolution isn't in working harder, but in resting deeper? This is what Lavern's Hope represents. It's a haven, a place where women don't have to pretend they're okay, a place where they can be vulnerable, messy, human, a place where they can rebuild without judgment. And that kind of environment doesn't just enable recovery, it enables transformation. It enables women to become who they were always meant to be before the world told them to shrink, to hustle, to survive at all costs. The same is true for entrepreneurial sustainability. If you're building a business, leading a team, or trying to make an impact, you need a haven too. You need a space where you can rest, recharge, and reconnect with your purpose. You need people around you who see your humanity, not just your productivity. You need permission to be soft. Even as you're being strong, you need to stop apologizing for needing support. Because here's what I've learned and what Lavern's work confirms: softness is not weakness. Softness is a radical act of self love. It's a refusal to let the world harden you. It's a commitment to protecting your peace, your joy, your energy. And when you create that kind of environment for yourself, you become unstoppable. Not because you're grinding harder, but because you're grounded deeper. Not because you're doing more, but because you're being more fully yourself. This is the heart of the soft girl era. It's the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. It's the deep exhale from the Superwoman script. It's the quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. And it's not just a personal journey, it's a business strategy, it's a leadership philosophy, it's a way of building legacies that heal instead of harm. It's a way of showing the world that strength and softness are not opposites, they are partners. So here's what I need you to hear: your willpower is not failing you. The environment is, the system is, the narrative is. And it's time we stop blaming ourselves for not being strong enough and start building the sanctuaries we actually need. It's time we stop surviving and start thriving. It's time we stop grinding ourselves into the ground and start grounding ourselves in environments that nourish, protect, and empower us. What personal or family struggle could you transform into a business sanctuary that empowers your community? What pain are you carrying that could become your purpose? What environment could you create, not just for others, but for yourself, that would allow you to thrive instead of just survive? What would it look like if you stopped waiting for permission and started building the haven you've been searching for? Lavern Crump is answering that question with Lavern's hope. She's taking her mother's journey, her family's struggle, and she's building something that will outlive her, something that will change lives, something that will honor Betty Newby's legacy by ensuring that other women don't have to walk that path alone. She's not waiting for someone else to fix the system. She's building a new one. And you can do the same. You don't have to build a sober living home, but you can build something: a business, a community, a practice, a space, something that reflects your values, your experiences, your vision for a better world. Something that says, I've been through this and I'm going to make sure no one else has to go through it alone. Something that transforms your pain into a sanctuary for someone else's healing. The world doesn't need more people grinding themselves into the ground. The world needs more sanctuaries, more havens, more places where people can heal, rebuild, and become who they were always meant to be. The world needs you to stop surviving and start building. The world needs you to stop waiting and start creating. The world needs you to stop apologizing for needing support and start demanding the environments that will help you thrive. So here's my challenge to you. Stop blaming your willpower. Start examining your environment. Stop asking yourself why you're not strong enough. Start asking yourself what kind of sanctuary you need to build. Stop waiting for permission to rest, to heal, to be soft. Start giving yourself that permission right now, today, this moment. Lavern's hope is coming early 2026. But your hope, your sanctuary, your legacy, that starts today, right here, right now, with the decision to stop surviving and start thriving, with the commitment to build environments that heal instead of harm, with the courage to transform your pain into a purpose that will outlive you. The question is not whether you're strong enough. The question is, what kind of environment are you building and who will it save? Start building, start healing, start now. Thank you.